Developmental trauma has made the brain less integrated because of neuroplasticity. We ought to be able to grow the integration of the brain throughout the lifespan. So let's go for it. Let's use every opportunity, mindfulness, therapy, good relationships at home, because integrated relationships also promote the growth of these integrated fibers.
That's amazing. And it's I think it's such a positive message to give to people, especially I'm working with some foster care situations and children who experience complex trauma. And it's just really encouraging to know that not all is lost, that there's so much can be done.
Yeah, there may be more work working with a 30-year-old that's been traumatized that never got help versus a 3-year-old, because all that lifetime of reinforcing the non-integrated state. And now you've had a 30-year-old that's had all those years. So, of course, earlier is better, but later is never too late.
The one thing I was going to ask you, is there one thing that parents can do that can positively help a child's development? And if there was, what would that be?
Yes. You brought it up beautifully in the beginning of our talk together, which is parental presence. If you as a parent, whether you are the birth parents or foster parents or adoptive parents, those are all biological parents. And why I say that is experience that you provide wherever the origin of the child is, but you're now taking care of this child. The experiences you provide for this child are biology. So what I say when I've been in the UK talking to, adoptive and foster parents in the UK, I say, you are the biological parents. Let's not, have a term, those are the biological parents. I'm just, in quotes, just adoptive parents. That's not logical. Biology is experience. Experience is biology. So a parent raising a child who didn't get born through their sperm or egg is the biological parent. Not the birth parent, we can grant you that's not the birth process, wasn't a part of your life with them, but now you are the biological parent. So what can you provide biologically that will optimize the growth of any child, and particularly a child who's had developmental trauma? Well, we begin with parental presence. So the reason that I've been systematically trying to put out books about children and adolescents is because there's a kind of a very practical application that can be done in a very systematic way. So what I would say to parents is this: parental presence is the way to begin. So if you look at studies of parenting, it boils down to this. If you can provide integration for your child, whatever their age, and that means honoring differences, that's the differentiation of integration, and promoting linkages, compassionate, respectful communication. You're going to do this through your presence. So what does that mean? Start with parenting from the inside out. That comes from the science that says no matter what you've been through, you could have been through horrendous, horrible trauma, but if you've made sense of that trauma, you'll develop this parental presence, this mindful way of being, this way of being available to your child, this way of creating an integrated relationship. And amazingly, if you begin with parental presence, presence is the doorway, the portal for integration to arise inside your child's brain. You need to start there. Step 2 is you say, okay, fine, I'm doing that work of parenting the inside out. Now I take on the whole brain child approach, and that will teach you very specific things you can do to stimulate the growth of integration in your child's brain. And how do you as a parent understand the nature of development? You can use these science-based findings to inform your parenting in this way that is so, as you've seen with your godchild, they're so useful because they're totally based on science. They give you an empowerment that isn't so much like an exact child does this, you do this, child does that, you do this. It gives you an overall way of living and being yourself that then comes very naturally. So you become a whole brain parent in many ways as you do this. So parents who do that have been very thrilled with the results.